Hey guys, Nino Eugenio with Aaron here of my VLNF.
Yep.
It is the 4th month. Tell us how it's going, Aaron, and tell us how you feel so far. 4th month, man. You see how fast that went by?
Man, let me just move my onion juice over here.
Onion juice. Okay, what's in that, man? Hold on, I'm sorry. Onion juice.
So I actually changed it up, and it tastes a lot better now since I've been making it in the past. I'm not drinking it as regularly, but I still drink it often. This right here actually has orange. It usually has turmeric, ginger, onion, and sometimes carrot, but also apple. So that's pretty much everything in there.
That sounds better than the original recipe, I think, because the original recipe was
and tomato too.
Wow.
Actually, that's pretty much everything that was there before. Maybe you're getting used to it. The idea. But
and somehow it doesn't smell as strong as before either. So I don't know.
You're right because the
I don't know if the orange cancels it out or
it does. It has been. Been. So it's been pretty good. I love it.
Well, anyways, Ben, sorry to interrupt you there for a second, because I see you said the onion juice. But so, tell us how you feel, man. 4th month, you're 2 months out from
my end goal. Yeah,
the end goal. So,
all right, yeah. I think that the 4th month came around pretty fast.
Usually does. The closer you get to the goal, it just flies.
From the 3rd month interview to where we are right now, I feel like it just went by so quickly that looking at my results, just trying to like prepare and like look at my notes to see how I've been doing. I'm noticing that it went so fast that I never really got to like go from week to week to change things. I kind of let it settle. So what I've been doing for the longest time is pretty much maintaining the same amount of weight. So I've been at 158 at the 3rd month, and now I'm at 159.
159.
So it's pretty much a pound
2 months
increase.
to go at 159, and you have 8 pounds to go.
I have 8 pounds to go.
If it's done right, it should hit right at 157, 158.
158.
If done right.
So yeah, basically what you're saying is like a pound a week.
Pound a week.
Yeah.
So I mean he's within range, so I just hope that he can get keep this going and go for it.
The thing that I think needs to be said is that for this last month, I've been really trying to maintain this sense of like balance. And so I went to the gym half of the days of the month. So, 0.5% or like 50% of the month. And because of that, I would lessen the amount of calories that I would have on the days that I wasn't going to the gym. So, for that, I attribute some credit to the reason why my diet has fairly been consistent. In a way, I thought it was a good thing because I didn't see so much of that excess weight building up on the days that I wasn't going to the gym.
Specifically, though, his concern was the excess weight he's seeing around the abdomen area.
Right.
That's his main concern. So.
Yeah. I mean, because everything else, it doesn't seem like the weight is really being distributed in a bad way. I think it's doing a fairly good. I was doing a fairly good job of having the weight distribute with muscles fairly well. The stomach is definitely the region where I had the most issue.
Well, I think he looks great, but he's very judgmental when it comes to himself, and so I just told him that if he's gonna go ahead and rather than lessen the calories on the days that he's not going to the gym, maybe instead of doing that, to go ahead and just adjust his carb protein ratio, but still keep the same amount of calories that he's taking in, for the day. So,
and that makes sense because calories they vary between the types of foods that you eat. So, say you're having like sweet potato, there's a massive portion compared to something that's protein rich.
Yeah,
in general.
Yeah, compare like let's just say one sweet potato versus a block of tofu. the sweet potato is still going to have more calories.
Right, yeah.
You might have to eat 2 blocks of tofu just to even out the calories.
So, like, I'll give you an example with my meals. In this next month, what I want to start doing is I'm going to transition my meal prep to compensate for the lost calories with more protein.
Nice.
So yeah, like I'll lose some calories with the carbs, and then instead of the carbs, I'll put those carbs into protein-rich foods.
So he'll make it up that way, meaning so basically you're going to go ahead and try to keep the same amount of calories, take out the carbs, the calories from carbs, and just replace that with more calories
from the protein.
Protein.
Yeah. And
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, because then I won't have to. I mean, it's a really good equal balance of like, hey, you're trying to do this thing, okay, so let's make a compromise and we'll meet in the middle. So I feel like that's a really good one. So yeah, I think that's a really good chance for me to see results, but also maintain a proper amount of food to the size that I put on.
Yeah, the thing is too, I mean, since this is, Aaron's first time, I was telling him that, your body's still adjusting, the way how your body digests that many calories and the type of foods you've been eating. It takes a while for a body to go ahead and get used to that. I was telling him maybe next year when he does the same bulk, his body's going to be so much more efficient that him taking in the same amount of carbs that was putting maybe weight on the abdomen wouldn't even, react the same way next year. So again, it's trial and error, and you got to figure out your body. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
I mean, through the years when I did bulking and cutting, did I make mistakes? Absolutely. I made a ton of mistakes. Did I find out things about myself that, I obviously wouldn't do now? Yeah. But that's just the way how that's going to go,
So yeah, I'm learning a lot about myself right now, just how my body reacts. And I definitely noticed that this month was for me to even understand what bulking means, because I didn't even really, I kind of just figured like, yeah, I'll put on the weight, but by the end of the month, I want to see results in the form of muscles, not in the form of just like weight increase. But I mean, after you explained to me what bulking really means, it really hit home for me to understand that like bulking is more of just like this phase of a workout where you can put on this weight, and then once you transition from bulking to actual the cutting phase is where you really tone down those muscles.
Yeah, see, this is a lot of people have this misunderstanding. They think that especially when you ask people that want to get into bodybuilding, what's your goal? I want to get big, or I want to get just ripped and shredded. Those are actually two very different goals. There's such thing as getting big, and there's such thing as getting ripped and shredded, but you can't do it at the same time. I've seen people try it. But it's very, very, very difficult. I mean, you have to be probably gifted genetically. And there's some maybe that can do it.
It probably takes more time, though.
It's very, very hard.
Yeah.
I mean, even the pros, 90% of the pros, well, maybe with the exception of a 10%, like I said, probably with genetically just gifted, that they can get massive and rip at the same time. Well, then fine. But, even the pros have their off season, which is considered the bulking season, and they have their cutting season, which is again in season, or even when they start getting into competition, prepping, But if the pros can have an off season bulking and an in season cutting, I mean, and these are again professionally bodybuilders. This is what they do for a living. For somebody to say, I'm gonna get big and rip at the same time. I mean, that's very, very, very difficult to do.
Yeah.
They're two different things. When you're in the bulking phase, you're trying to get excess calories in your body. Basically, what that means is you're putting in more calories than your body's burning. That's what bulking means. It doesn't mean it's supposed to be half and half or whatever. It means excess calories. When you're cutting, that's basically when you're at a deficit. And that's how you get shredded. You lose all your body fat, meaning that you're burning probably more than you're taking in.
Mm-hmm.
Two different concepts, totally
Right.
different.
And so, you know, like with that whole thing, and with this whole weight training in general, I think another thing that I learned is that going 3 or 4 times to the gym a week is not a bad thing. I mean,
No, that's more than enough. 3 to 4 times. That's
like,
a lot.
My train of thought was that every single time I was missing was a day that I wasn't doing exactly what I should be doing.
Well, you got to look at it like this, guys, and I always explain this to Aaron too, and everybody that I've trained in the past, that you have to have those days off to have your body recover, because you're not growing when you're at the gym. That's a misconception. You're growing when you're not at the gym. When you're at home eating, resting, that's when your body's like recuperating and rebuilding itself to get bigger. If you just keep going to the gym every day, you might get, shredded and skinny, but you're not going to get the size because you're burning more than you're, putting in. The rest days are the days when you should be loading up on calories and then, have your body and your muscle recover, and the hope is to make them build bigger and stronger, when you're resting and eating at home.
Yeah. I mean, even if I do some push-ups and sit-ups at home, I think that's a good middle ground as well, even if I wanted to. But yeah, those rest days are important.
They're important. That's when you're recuperating. And
that makes me feel much more at ease about just how much work I actually have to do. It makes it feel more tolerable. Because if for someone who just wants to pick it up one day and actually start putting on this weight, for a person like myself, it really allows me to put this in a perspective where it's like, okay, this is possible.
That's okay, though. I mean, like I said, it's your first time, it's first year, period, doing a bulking season and a cutting season. Not everything's going to go perfect, but the fact that you're not too far off. I mean, 159, the goal's 167, and you have 2 months. That's definitely, you should be able to hit that.
Yeah.
And again, doing this on a vegan diet, by the way. What are you having for, this is our post-workout meal right now. So what are you having there, Aaron? Let's tell them what we're having.
Well, see, ours looks a little different because we made them separately, but I have blueberries, so it's about like a 4th cup of blueberries.
Okay.
I have some oats, and this specific type of oat. What is that?
Rolled oats.
Rolled oats. That's half a cup of rolled oats and a scoop of Orgain protein powder with water. That's what I do.
Nice. Okay, so let me talk about mine. This is basically a 1/4 of a cup, though it looks bigger than his. 1/4 a cup of rolled oats.
Oh.
It's got raisins in there. It's got blueberries. It's got strawberries. And a tablespoon of almond butter. I'm already starting to switch over because my cut actually starts sooner than his. Mine starts next week. So I'm kind of, instead of peanut butter, now I'm on almond butter.
Yeah, he's way ahead of me. So with the cut thing, I feel bad, but I mean, we were able to eat out together, and in about a week we won't be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's just gonna change a little bit, And then and also with this scoop of Orgain, and I threw in an extra scoop of just unflavored pea protein from Trader Joe's. So that's double scoop of protein powder in there. But
it's looking good.
That's what it is. And I got a cup of green tea right here, and he's having his onion juice.
Nice.
So
this is better than caffeine, I always say.
Yeah, man. So let's take a couple of bites, man. Let's eat a little bit. Relax. Jesus.
All right, cool.
4 months. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
So how do you feel strength-wise? I mean, I know you've been getting stronger because I see it, but tell everybody with this vegan diet, because they say, oh, you turn vegan, you can't gain weight, or you're going to get weak. It's not going to happen. Don't do it. What's going on?
Well,
how come you're getting stronger, man?
I feel the strongest I've ever been. Well, obviously, I would never weigh this much before, but my pants are fitting a little tighter every day. Every time I gain more weight.
So what do you say to people that are doubters that say, "Oh, dude, you can't go vegan, man. You're gonna lose all your muscles. You can't gain weight, without eating meat, huh? How's that gonna work?"
There's no doubt. There's no doubt that you can do it on a vegan diet. No doubt. Not in my mind.
90% of the people is gonna say no to you, right?
Well,
I mean, they're gonna say no. That's not. You can't do that.
It's almost like it's a switch. It's like night and day. It's like once you turn the switch on, you realize that it's possible. And I'm doing it here, and I mean, the only thing that I have a problem with is gaining too much weight and gaining the improper weight. But if you know how to balance it, the calories to the calorie intake, to the protein, to the carbs, to the fats, and to
so what do you say to
else.
people that say you can't do it on a vegan diet? That's impossible.
I say that,
I mean, there's so many of those at the
Yeah.
gym. I mean, you probably 90% of people, and they'll say, I can't do that. I'll lose all my muscle.
I say that there's testimony out there, and I'm not the only one. There's a vegan bodybuilder that is...
There's a ton of them now.
There's a bunch of vegan bodybuilders, but I mean, there's some people who've made a name for the vegan movement in general, who have peaked as vegans and
Athletes, even.
Athletes seem to be doing a great job on vegan diets, but I mean, if it's not testament in that vegan athletes are utilizing a vegan diet because they think it's better for them, then I mean, it's just like, are you just trying to say no to it because you don't understand, or is it really just because you have this mindset that you don't want to accept? But I mean, there's testimony everywhere around you, and I think
it's a myth. You know,
it is a myth. Yeah,
it's a myth because you know why? I experienced it when I switched over. You know, I used to do the whole bro diet. You know, but I mean, all I did was basically replace the amount of calories I was taking in before with just all vegan food. The same amount of calories, except I'm not getting it from chicken or fish or meat or dairy but it's still the same amount of calories. I mean, I was getting same amount of calories when I was in vegan back in the days. And
well, here's a question for you then. The transition period in itself, was it hard for you to transition, or did you just say like, okay, well, let me use MyFitnessPal and see where?
Oh, it was hard. No, I'm not.
It was hard to transition.
It was hard to transition
from one food to the next.
Well, it's just because in the beginning I didn't even know what I would replace my proteins with. I knew about beans and I knew about tofu. Then what?
Then there's quinoa nowadays.
I didn't know about
chia seeds.
Chia seeds, the hemp seeds,
and the protein powders are only getting better.
Yeah, and the protein powders. You know, you have to incorporate all that, and I think the good thing about going over to the vegan diet or plant-based eating was the variety that it showed me. That no, proteins don't just come from animals. You know, like I realized, you know, you have, you know, nuts and, you know, and seeds and, you know, all that stuff. It just makes you, I guess, try out different foods that you wouldn't normally try if you were on a regular, you know, everyday diet, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, how many people really would try chia seeds back in the days when nobody even really knew that was a great food option?
I know, yeah. Jeez. And
you know?
Yeah, who knew it had so much protein in it?
Yeah. I mean, nobody would... I mean, I'll just get my protein from chicken.
Yeah.
Why would I need to get chia seeds?
Right. How much avocado do you eat?
Oh, man, I eat about 1 or 2 avocados a day, man.
Really?
Yeah, but then, you know what? When I start cutting next week, it's gonna
have to stop.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still have avocado. It's just, it's not as much.
Because of the fat content, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start slowly. You know, and when I do my cut, I do everything gradually. I don't just go crash, you know. So at 3,900 calories, we'll drop to 37, 35, 33, and then, you know, into the cut. Yeah, the last like month or month and a half, I'll probably maybe range between 2,700, 2,800 calories, which is almost nothing. It's gonna feel like I'm not even eating.
This is Nino, who is a seasoned bodybuilding. You have this like you encourage it. You do it. This has been your lifestyle for years.
Oh, I love it. I've growing up, I've always been a fan of, you know, obviously sports and bodybuilding in particular. So I've always followed, you know, Muscle and Fitness magazine and all that stuff, you know, and like I said, I just didn't know, especially in the beginning of you know, me transitioning over to being plant-based, I didn't know that you could still do it. I thought I would have to give it up.
You told me a story about you being in Vegas one year, and there were bodybuilders who were around you. Mm-hmm. And I think you said that you just went plant-based, but...
I was considering going plant-based, and I was actually a Veggie Nation.
Vegetarian, or...? Oh, Veggie Nation. Get
Veggie Nation was the name of the restaurant. It's a vegan restaurant in Vegas. And I was sitting there, and I saw a guy sitting there, and he looks pretty well built. I thought, like, man, maybe he's part of the Olympia, or maybe he competes, you know. So I started talking to him, and then I realized that he's been vegan for over 10 years. And really started talking, and that's when I started a bunch of questions, you know. Funny thing now, I look back, you know, one of the things that I asked him was, wow, you don't eat any animal meat whatsoever, so where do you get your protein? So I laugh at that, because now being vegan, obviously that's like a joke amongst vegans when people ask you, but where do you get your protein, you know? And that's when he got into, you know, nuts and beans and, you know, seeds, and I was like, wow, and that's all you eat and you're able to build muscle? He was like, yeah.
Yeah, the most salad.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. I literally, like, at that time, I'm sitting there going, no way. There's no way. I mean, you can't. With nuts and seeds and there's no way. You can't build muscle that way.
It almost seemed unbelievable.
Yeah, you know, I was like, you know, because I was under the belief that you have to eat at least fish, right? You know, or else you're not going to perform right.
Yeah. I mean,
so I was skeptical still. Even though I'm seeing somebody in front of me, I was still skeptical about it. Because again, all my life, you grow up eating a certain way, and you're going to tell me that's not the way? Or like, oh, there's another way? I mean, it's hard to comprehend. In the beginning, it's hard to comprehend that.
And then the transition from the year that you went vegan or vegetarian to the time that you came back and you saw these bodybuilders at the gym who were eating meat. I mean, how did that compare to the way you felt like being among people that were doing exactly the same workout as you? Did you feel like...
Well, it's funny because...
Wait a second. This is... I mean, like, you guys don't realize what you're missing. Or what was your mentality?
Well, you know, it was just weird because the very same guys that was making fun of me in the beginning when I was trying to transition over, when they saw me finally at my peak at the end of my cut, they were like, all right, man, how did you do that? You know what I mean? Like, how did you do that without eating any meat? Not even fish or white chicken breast. You know what I mean? It's like...
Because then there's that myth that comes back.
Yeah, because, you know, it's that dilemma. They think that, oh, but where am I going to get my protein if I don't eat my chicken and my fish and my steak, you know? Mm-hmm. So...
Because then all of a sudden, I mean, you could just avoid all the hormones and then all of the improper...
That's one. That's just one, you know. And then, you know, when you get into what goes on, the waste that it creates, you know, and again, the factory farming that goes on, and then the cruelty. You know, that's the other thing, you know. Just knowing that you're not having to kill a being for your just really taste satisfaction.
Right.
Yeah, in itself is already...
Right, yeah.
I mean, it just makes you feel better overall inside.
It's almost like if you opt out of meat, it's benefiting you in so many ways. The level is just like, if there's like a balance, then it's almost like, well, you want to go towards the part that has better for you, so you might want to go... vegan is like... Well, I think there's a lot of...
The hardest thing is...
There's a lot of benefits.
Yeah, the hardest thing is, again, just making a person believe that you don't need it.
Right.
Because people is under the belief, and since they grow up eating it their whole lifetime, who are you to tell me that I'm not supposed to eat my chicken, my eggs, my meat?
Right. Yeah.
That's hard to convince someone to say that that's not needed, and that's what made them grow. That's what made them who they are right now, and you're gonna tell them that you don't need it.
Yeah, it's a complete.
I mean, how do you?
It's a change to their whole belief system in general. Mm-hmm. I mean,
my mom fed me this all my life. What do you mean I can't have?
Yeah.
Chilaquiles or whatever, or you know.
But I think it's the actual fact of the matter that you can take it out of your system and be absolutely okay and be even better off in a lot of instances.
Not just for your own self, but
in the
world,
environment, in the world.
Yeah.
For so many reasons, it is good for, in a general sense, it's just overall a good thing. It really makes sense.
And again, I think that the biggest hurdle into getting somebody to get there is making them take that leap of faith, almost, really, to say, really? If I stop eating all this, I'll still be okay?
Right, yeah.
Because they're under belief that if I stop eating like this, I'm going to die. Or I'm going to get sick, or something's going to happen. I'm going to lose all my muscle weight or whatever. or I'm gonna be unhealthy.
Yeah, so I mean, like, if we can bring it back to like the testimony that we're trying to put on the table right now, I feel so much clear-headed. I feel so much better than I had been in the past, and I think purely because it's there. I'm just eating more healthy. I'm concentrated on the diet. I have an opportunity to really take in control my exercise, my body, and really exercise the muscles in my mind to focus and to be a better person in general. But with a vegan diet, it's just that much better.
I'm gonna ask you this too, because this is one of my, and maybe I don't discuss this enough, but and maybe I've never, but spiritually though, there's something, I don't know what it is, but ever since I've been eating plant-based, just I have this connection with nature and even other animals, beings, that maybe I didn't quite feel before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you get that sometimes, but it's weird because like when I'm like walking around and I don't know how to explain it. I know it's some weird shit, but
I think where I can relate with that is that if I saw any sort of, I think that fundamentally, like I'm on this level where it's like I'm trying to fit my morals and my compass with the type of mentality that I want to keep pushing forward. So it's like if I see an animal that is like, if I see meat, then it makes me feel sad that animal died. Or if I see like a squirrel that got hit by a car, like I feel more about the I feel sad to see that happens.
Hi. We're recording.
Yeah.
But okay.
Hey, Grandma.
Say hi.
Yeah. But okay, so let me just put that in perspective again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, whenever I feel about animals, it's more about like being on the level of like consistency within my own sense of like, well, my moral compass. Like, if I see that like there are pigs that are being slaughtered to make bacon, it makes me sad because pigs are basically this as smart or even smarter than dogs. And so for
people
me,
don't see that though.
Yeah, but
they think
like,
that's bacon.
It's like putting blinders on and then just leaving it at that because it's literally just your. It doesn't make sense for you to not feel strongly about a pig over a dog.
But you do that over a dog.
Yeah, I mean, like even people who are trying to fight for the dogs who are in China, to me, it's about all animals. It's not just about just the pigs or just about the dogs. I think it's a great cause, but that puts light to the fact that we have this mentality that needs to change about animals in general. And so, like, whenever I see like a squirrel or like animals that are in the animals that are at the adoption agencies, I always think, like these aren't the only animals that need that you can care about. I just like see an animal and I think, I like that animal has just as much life and just as much character as any other animal that's out there.
Well, for me, I mean, going back into that spiritual thing, that definitely has gotten heightened ever since I went plant-based. It's not even just me thinking of an animal that's being tortured or obviously, a meat that's being eaten. It's just in general, like, even when I'm just walking down the street or when I see a dog or whatever, or I don't know, I just have this, I feel like I'm connected and I didn't feel like that before.
You mean there's this disconnect before?
Yeah. Like the other day I was walking around just looking at the trees. I don't know what it is. It seems like everything is just more livelier and more, I feel connected to things that are living, even though
I see you.
I appreciate that plant. I appreciate that tree. I appreciate that bird that's flying. It's not like before when I didn't really care.
Right, yeah.
It was just like, it's there. It's part of, the planet, whatever.
Right, yeah.
I didn't really give a shit. But now, like, I actually do. It actually means something.
Mm-hmm. I
don't know. I guess this is hard to explain. I guess I don't know how to express that.
I think okay. So yeah, whenever it comes to like this mentality of like being vegan, I think that like when you think about vegan, it's just this higher type of mentality that you have to keep yourself in check with. It kind of like it's like there are so many things that you can try to attain as a vegan, and then when you try to like be the best that you can be with the mentality that like, oh yeah, I'm trying to do this thing, and it's like the vegan experience. Your vegan experience is only becoming more evolved. You're trying to enrich your life with a better mentality, I think. And so like you see animals now with a more enlightened view every single time. It's not like, well, I put the blinders on for the meat, and so whenever I see animals now, there's a blinder there too.
It's not even just that. I mean, the animals definitely, but just in general with nature, I'm talking about just the sky, when it rained, it's just there's I don't know. It's just I just feel more of a connection that I didn't have before, Maybe one day I'll be able to explain what I mean by that, but I just feel that I didn't have that before, like a connection, I mean, I think one of our team members, Alex, mentioned that too, that when there's a certain connection that she feels with nature,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's one of the benefits when you go into this kind of lifestyle, when you go plant-based or you go vegan, that you feel that. But I've heard it before too from other vegans that there seems to be you just start feeling a connection with just nature and the world better than you did before.
I would have to say that like everyone has their different experience, and so I mean, I think it doubles down and like gets even stronger as you develop those instincts. You develop that
senses too, I guess.
Maybe.
Like I said, it's something that I didn't care about before.
Mm-hmm.
Where now like I actually do. Like it matters.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't. It's not like every single vegan thinks the same.
No, of course
it's like
not. No.
Yeah, we all have like different concerns and reasons why we became vegan. So, for me, like to hear that, it's like, oh wow, that's really I want to get to a level where I like actually I just that stream of consciousness is something that maybe
I mean
it could happen for me in a different way.
This. I'm not like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't like this animal lover before I started eating plant-based. I wasn't like go PETA. That's not the kind of vegan vegan I wanted to be even in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. But it's like,
I wasn't,
but there's this like moral, like there's ethics. It's like this makes sense. So come on.
It all made sense when, like I said, when you grow into this lifestyle, you start looking at other things that maybe you didn't care about, but you just want to know,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get to, oh wow, okay, that's
like,
what happens. Okay,
do I really want to promote that type of lifestyle by continuing to do this thing?
Yeah,
it just makes sense. But like, I mean, again, it's like you have this mentality, and it's like your focus was there, and it brought you to where you are now. I can't wait to see how that could definitely, like as long as you have that, like, and now I'm gonna have this in my head, like I gotta look for that.
It's crazy. Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, these are things that I never even thought of before, like, but now I see it, and there's more of a heightened sense to everything, the trees, the weather, things that, you probably never think of on your daily lives. You just, go to work and you worry about work and you worry about school or, chores that you got to do, and that's it.
Actually, you know what? I think this is really cool. Wait, I'm going to check to see if the camera's still going.
Dude, you know what? 35 minutes?
Oh, snap. This is a good conversation, though.
Yeah, we're at 35 minutes. Dude, we gotta
wrap
this up. Yeah, this is gonna be a long video.
All right.
I mean, and those are all good content because we're having a conversation.
Right.
Dude, when are you gonna do the podcast?
Well,
we might as well just start a podcast.
Yeah, we should. Okay, so
let's finish this up and then we'll talk about that.
Okay, but the one thing I wanted to say is that, I mean, when you told me about how you became vegan, you told me that you went vegan for health purposes.
What purposes?
But it's like your body was your temple, And now you're kind of like allowing that sensation to follow through within like how you perceive the world. It's like maybe that's how it seems to me. It's like you
Absolutely.
see the world as like a place of like harmony, and you want to keep it all.
And I never saw
place.
it like that.
That's funny.
I never saw it like that.
It's funny how you
like,
started here and then you started. It's like moving on.
Moving on, yeah. No, and like I said, it's hard to explain now. Maybe later on as I get more in tune to it. Because, me talking like, I feel more in tune with the trees and it seems kind of weird. But I don't know how to explain it yet. Like I said, maybe later on I'll be able to. But, it just, I feel it,
That's cool, man.
But with your 4 months now, going back into that.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. So what's the goal this next 2 months? Because this is like, you're down to the nitty gritty right now.
Yeah.
This is where, like, I have to really push it in. Let's tell everybody so how is this gonna go down?
All right.
Are you gonna weigh yourself now every day or every week actually and show that? So, people will see 161, 162 next week, 163, 160. How are we gonna do this?
Yeah. Well, I think filming, because they're gonna be Mondays, because that's the day that I regularly am supposed to weigh in. But it's like if I don't bring a tripod, then there's no one to record for me. So.
Actually, I'm sorry. Let me do this too. Aaron is also trying to go ahead. He's gonna go ahead and try to get this series to be on the week of.
I'm trying to. Oh.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Let's talk about that because I know we've been posting, but sometimes it's like, wait, that was like weeks ago.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So tell everybody what's the future gonna be of this 365 series. What's the goal at least, so people can kind of look forward to that. And okay, good.
I am going to try to get us up to date with all the videos that we have had in the past. Right now, we're pretty far. We're not that far behind. So
how many weeks? How many weeks you'd say?
Let's see. We're 2 weeks behind right now.
Oh,
2 weeks behind.
Hey, that's man. Yeah. Once we get on time, that's gonna be great.
Once we get that content out, then the goal then is to just stay consistent and have the content come out. I have to say I've gotten better at editing, and that has been the problem for me because I've been like really concentrated in how am I going to tell this story and how am I going to put this content out there. There's this that's in there. I was very critical on how I was going to put the content out, and now I'm getting a lot better, and so the consistency, the day of or the week of is the most important part.
We're excited to see that, man, because I'm excited. I want to see him posting basically the week of what's going on that week, not posting this week of what happened 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
yeah.
that's gonna be, I think, a lot more pleasurable to watch and follow when,
right, yeah,
damn, this happened like a day ago.
Wait a second.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like this happened 2 days ago.
Yeah,
awesome.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's not like, oh, wait a second, it's raining in that video.
That was about a month and a half ago.
I know.
You know
when
what
did it rain, actually?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. But yeah, it'll be more consistent, and that'll make sense. So that's where I want it to go. And then I'm also going to start using my MyFitnessPal app for sure, because
consistent.
Because now I'm realizing how important it is to actually monitor your fat content and then where the calories are coming from. Is it carbs or is it protein rich? And so I want to do that, and
weigh in every week.
Weigh in every week.
And
stay consistent with the diet. Like, this is bulking season, so even if I do have a little bit of a bulk that isn't all muscle, then the goal of the next season, which is actually a cutting, that's whenever I'm gonna focus in on
taking out the excess.
Yeah, take the excess out. Take it out, and then
keep the bulk though.
Yeah, and then at the same time, that bulk is helping me to get more muscle.
Let me cut you off here, because this is where people make the mistake, and this is almost everybody that makes the mistake. Okay, they stop their bulk too early because they think like, oh my god, I'm too big, and they realize that when they cut, they lose some of the muscles that they gained over the bulking season. So by the time they're cut, guess what? They're skinny again. So what happened to all that muscle that they put on? They lost it when they started doing more cardio and, be on a deficit diet, and then, obviously eating less carbs and less fat. They lose the muscle that they gain over the winter.
Yeah, because
I've made that mistake.
what
Everybody has made that mistake.
And it sounds to me like what it does is like when you go work out and you have less calories, what you're doing is the muscles are just trying to pull in all the energy it can, so it eats itself.
Mm-hmm. Right, but it happens.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm telling you. It's better to overshoot than to undershoot.
Okay, yeah.
Because eventually, when you go in that cut and you lose all the excess on your abdomen, well, guess what else is going to get eaten up? Your muscle weight.
What I was concerned was that like I wasn't being as critical on myself to go to the gym as often as I could, which meant like at 12 o'clock at night, like I had to fit it in, like there was no way.
Mm-hmm.
But now it makes me realize that like within my structure like of life, like going to work, doing all this stuff, it's still possible for me to go 3 or 4 times a week, and it's acceptable.
That's
it
enough,
actually
man.
is good.
Okay, I always tell people this. It's not how often you go to the gym. It's the intent. It's not how often you go to the gym. It's the intensity that you put out while you're at the gym. I mean, like I said, you can have somebody there be there for 3 hours, mess around, and have somebody there be, for an hour, and that person who was there for that hour still have a better workout than somebody that was there for 3 hours.
See, the other thing is, yes, diet really does matter, and like when you put it in, because every single time that we're there, every time we leave, he's always like, and don't forget to eat your meal after you get out of here, because you always remind me that there's always like this.
There's that window.
Yeah, there's this window of like this. Your body's asking for nutrients right now.
Especially after a workout, that's when your body is. Basically, when you're working out, what you're doing is you're tearing your muscles, right? So they're all torn right now. There's like micro tears in your muscles after your workout. That's when your body, right after that, is asking for amino acids, for protein, for anything, because it's starving, right? And that meal, that 1 to 2 hour period right after your workout is important. You should not wait 3-4 hours after a workout before you have your meal.
Mm-hmm.
That should never happen.
Yeah. And so I never really realized that in the beginning, but as you progress, you start learning more about when you should eat, what you should eat, and what type of exercise you should do, how long you should go to the gym. So I'm learning this over the period of 4 months now.
But that's okay, man. I think he's been doing great. Like I said, he's highly critical on certain things, but I'm telling him that he's been doing great. He's putting on the weight. Obviously, look at the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
so
I've definitely gotten
compare yourself. I'm sure at the end of this, bulk, you'll show your beginning pictures too. Like at the end, it'll be totally two different people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I'm just proud of you, man. You're doing it on a vegan diet, plant-based, and you're putting the weight. You're showing everybody that it can be done, and that's awesome right there. I think that you're showing everybody that this is how it's done, together with the mistakes that normal people will have,
Yeah.
especially somebody who's new to it, it'll happen.
Because this isn't my regular job. It's not like I only do this.
Yeah, no, we
like,
have our own daily lives, man. We have work we gotta go to. We have family to attend to.
Yeah, so we have to we have to put on the table exactly what's going on, and these are the challenges. These are the issues that a person figuring out this type of circumstance is dealing with. So. Yeah.
Right, man. Well, we're excited. We can't wait. First of all, for the series to get on time.
Yeah.
And then second, we're excited for these next 2 months that's coming up. I'm definitely going to be there to help him, watch him, make sure that he hits the 167. That's the magical number, right? 167.
Yeah.
So, and
the earlier we can start cutting, the faster we can be on the same page about diet and workout.
I think the goal next year is for us to start our bulking at the same time and start our cut at the same time. So when we do these videos, we're going to be literally doing the exact same thing at the exact same moment. When I start cutting next week, well, guess what? He's still in his bulk.
Yeah.
So everything's going to be different for a little bit there until he starts his cut July 1st.
July 1st is where we're
looking at, right?
Yeah, which is going to be an early 2-month process. So I do have 2 months, but if I do it properly, then I'll have it done within a month and a half or less. So yeah.
All right, man.
All right.
Looking forward to it, man.
Thank you, man.
Damn. All right. Let's do this.
Always enjoy your perspective.
Yes.